The release of the movie
This is the emergency broadcast system.
Red Dawn,
We're under attack by conventional forces of the Russian army.
starring Patrick Swayze
Not bad for a bunch of kids, huh?
and Charlie Sheen.
Wolverines!
I'm Brandon Brooks,
Mama'd be real proud.
and that's Rewind.
If you need last-minute hires in no time, you need Indeed. Their integrated hiring solution lets you schedule and conduct video interviews all in one place. Finding your next great hire has never been more streamlined. Get hiring at Indeed.com/credits.
Rutherford Issues with Brian Barrett on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, and streaming at WGNSradio.com.
Rutherford Issues, powered by Middle Tennessee Electric. Their Pro Solar program is committed to educating members on the process and helping them achieve their renewable energy goals. You can learn more about Pro Solar and get a free consultation. That's mte.com/prosolar. We've got State Representative Mike Sparks in and has graciously brought in a beautiful young lady to talk to us about the fish fry.
Outside, she's beautiful on the inside, aren't you, Judy?
Well, that's what
really
counts, isn't it?
She really is. No, she's going to talk fish fry, and I think we've got Mark Brassfield, with owner of the Safe House, going to talk about our gun safe legislation real quick. He's about to call in, but Judy King, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me today.
Yeah, you might pull that microphone a little bit closer to you there. So, a lot to talk about. I guess, Mike, we've got special session. When does that start?
August 21st.
August 21st. What are you going to talk about?
Well, been a lot of controversy with red flag laws, that sort of thing. I'll be speaking with Tennessee Firearms next Tuesday night. They asked me to come in and speak. I know the governor wants to address mental health, which is a serious threat to public safety. I was at a We Care event the other day at St. Thomas Ascension in Murfreesboro, and appreciate Sarah Murphy and Jolie Shipley with what they do, and the doctors and physicians over there that care about the drug problem. But I asked them if this is an epidemic, what we're seeing with mental health and addiction. They said yes. And a guy showed me a statistic. We had about 109 overdoses last year, and this thing seems to be rising. Ironically, I was doing an interview for Marsha Blackburn. I told they wanted to do a little endorsement, so I was out front of the hospital, and I got to share that. So hopefully Senator Blackburn will see it. I know she's been fighting some of this open border that we have, where a lot of these fentanyl and other drugs are coming across the border and just inundating our youth. I met with the governor last month about my psych bed bill, House Bill 827, and then my safe storage of firearms bill, which we ran 2 years in a row as a temporary sales tax cut. This year, what we're wanting to do, I'm hoping the governor will make it a permanent sales tax cut to invest in gun safes, gun safety devices. We're seeing a rise, what I'll call epidemic, of stolen firearms in our communities, in Nashville, in Memphis, and other areas. But I know it works because Mark Brassfield, the owner of the Safe House, testified before Finance, before our committees, and I think you got Mark on the line now.
Yeah, Mark's here with us, and Mark, I know that when that legislation was allowed to kind of go to sleep, go away, whatever you want to call it, that maybe not such the brightest move, but regardless, what has been the reaction from folks that you've seen come into your store to that it's not no longer a tax law? Mark?
Well, it's kind of funny when this was all going on for the past 2 years, and gun safes were sales tax free. A lot of people came in and said, "I didn't know that it was sales tax free." Then it sunsets, and it's no longer applicable, and everybody's coming in going, "I wish I'd have got a safe when it was sales tax free." And it's almost been a flip. I mean, where half the people came in before and said, "Hey, I didn't even know there was not any sales tax on gun safes." Now it seems like it's been talked about more, and people. I don't know what human nature, why human nature is, but it's like, well, I can't believe I missed that. So, I mean, the demand is definitely still out there, and it definitely helped, people afford to get a safe
Well, I guess that's what my question was going to be. Did you see that more people were utilizing that? Did you see that people were saying, this is a great time to buy a gun safe now? And because that was the whole purpose of the law.
Yeah, well, and all I could really speak to is what it did to my sales, and directly, and I said about, half of the people came in and said they didn't know about it, but the other half came in and said, hey, I came in to buy a safe because I heard about the sales tax thing, and of course I advertise a lot. So, people come in and take advantages of specials plus the sales tax, and I mean, I had a ton of customers come in and specifically buy a safe because of no sales tax. Now, I'd have to admit, would they have come in even if it hadn't have been? Well, maybe. But, it's definitely something that, people take advantage of, and it doesn't hurt. And my biggest thing is how much it increased my sales. So yes. I'm a big believer in, finding out where people are hearing about you and why they came in and stuff like that. So when someone came in to buy a safe, I'd ask them, hey, how'd you hear about us? And they go, well, I heard your ad about no sales tax on gun safes. So, they specifically came in because of that. So, I mean, and I don't know what the other dealers across Tennessee did, but I know it significantly increased, my gun safe sales, and I sell all kinds of safes, but specifically gun safes. It was a huge, benefit. Let me put it that way.
Sure. Mike, you got anything there?
Well, in all fairness, because when I first called Mark, I talk about strange coincidences, God wink moments. I got asked to carry this piece of legislation. First thing I did was call John Harris, Tennessee Firearm Association. He knows these issues better than pretty much any lawmaker. He said, Mike, we've been trying to pass that bill for about 4 years, and we've never been able to pass it. So I heard his commercials, Mark's commercials, and called Mark, and I said, man, what about this bill? And I don't know if Mark remembers, you were real critical. You're like, man, they've done a terrible job of trying to pass this bill. I said, well, you come up and testify. And he came up and spoke, and Bob Freeman, who's a Democrat, spoke up on it. And then Chris Todd, Republican, strong conservative, strong Second Amendment guy, spoke up, and we're able to pass it for 2 years in a row. But we know it works. It's an economic incentive. It may be a small tool in the toolbox, but it is a tool that we know works. Mark is a living testament to that. The last day that sales tax incentive was going, Mark, you were swamped. If you remember, I called you, and you were inundated, So hopefully we get this passed. Hopefully you come up and testify again, and hopefully we can get some of these stolen guns off the streets of Nashville, Memphis, and Murfreesboro, McMinnville, and everywhere else that seems to be. We're just inundated with a lot of juveniles committing crimes. And, I told you, Mark, the other day, we had two folks shot at on I-24 coming into Rutherford County. So, we travel these roads. Judy King travels that road. Dalton, Brian's son, travels I-24. And this is a small step, but it is a step in the right direction. I appreciate your advocacy.
No, and Mike, I appreciate you carrying this bill, and I think without you, I don't think it would have happened. So, I do want to express my, thanks for you, stepping up and doing this, and hopefully we can get this going again and maybe make it permanent. There's certain states that have permanent, sales tax free on gun safe, so I'm hoping that we can do that. But if it's year to year, I'll take what I can get.
Yes.
But
yes.
It's definitely helped, and I've had customers come in and directly say that this has helped them afford, to secure their guns, which I'm a big advocate. I grew up with guns, and even if I wasn't in the safe business, I'm a big advocate of securing your guns. I think that's a responsibility as a gun owner, to keep your guns out of people's hands they don't need to be in.
Well, I think it what it does for people, it offers them an opportunity to save probably hundreds of dollars. It's good for your business because you have more customers, and the biggest thing that it does, more gun safes in homes mean more secured firearms. So it just kind of seems to make sense there. So
yes.
Yeah, I agree.
Mike, appreciate you, or Mark rather, appreciate you joining us. I've got Mike and Mark here. Looks like we're got all the books of the Bible going here, but appreciate it.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, sir.
No, I appreciate it. Thanks.
We'll see.
You mentioned, I know we got Judy, but you said red flag laws, and I think maybe some people are kind of maybe a bit unsure what that is, and what is a red flag law?
Well, I think what people get worried about is if somebody says, maybe their husband and wife are going through a domestic situation, and the wife says he's suicidal or homicidal or something, and then they're going after him to take his firearms away. That's where folks get really nervous, and I understand that. But I think by the same token, like I'll be speaking at Tennessee Firearms next Tuesday night, Golden Corral. If folks want to come out there, you don't have to be a member of Tennessee Firearms Association to attend. They were on the radio with me, I think 6 weeks ago, Richard Archie. But that's where I think folks get concerned about their constitutional right to be able to protect themselves. But I think the discussion needs to be out there. There needs to be something with that person that shot those kids at Covenant school shooting. Something should have been identified. Something should have been done to prevent that. Metro officers, they've done a great job, but it's gotten to where it's not a question of if there's going to be another school shooting, it's when there's going to be a school shooting. I was at Smyrna Primary School last week presenting a proclamation on their 60th anniversary where I went to school. Mayor Reed was there, several councilmen were there, and county commissioners. And I thought, could that happen at this school? You see these young kids, these young faces, and kids are dealing with a lot of issues that I wasn't dealing with when I was a kid. I mean, we weren't dealing with all these mental health and what's your he, she pronouns, they. I mean, the confusion that kids are dealing with today is off the top. But I know that it may not be a big deal to some people, but when I see people that are shot with stolen guns, like that officer last month in Nashville, I said on the radio, I bet he was shot with a stolen gun. Come to find out, he was shot with a stolen gun. And that's what that guy was up here doing, was searching cars at the parking lots, looking for. When you see these car break-ins, they're not looking for change. They're looking for guns. And sadly, they're finding them.
Well, special session, I'm sure there's no certain amount of time for that either. It's until you get things done, I guess.
We had the one on education that I think was fruitful. I think we're going to be up there 3 days, maybe 4. But the discussion of mental health needs to be there. Like my psych bed bill, Senator Reeves and I psych bed bill. We've got pushback on that. Tennessee hospitals have pushed back. But I know Tennessee hospitals need relief. The CEO told me that right before. Another strange coincidence. I was asked to carry this bill right after I left the hospital 2 months earlier. The ERs were full with mental health situations. And he was asking for relief. He may not want me to share it live on the radio, but I'm sharing it because it's a serious issue that we're seeing in our community. And that could be my wife shot at. That could be my new grandbaby that's shot at. And we got to have it. And I admire the governor. He's a strong, caring person. I hope we get things done. But here's the bottom line: we need to be praying for this nation. Pray for this nation. All the laws. If we build another prison, it's $300 million to build a prison. Our prison budget has doubled since I was elected in 2010. It's doubled. Brian, I've never seen anybody advocate, man, we've got to reach these young people. We've got to turn it around. I've never seen that. But I'll tell you what I have seen, Brian. I've seen the gospel of Jesus Christ turn people's lives around. And you know what it costs taxpayers? Not a dime. But if we continue on this path, 1, this country's going to fall. 2, we're bankrupt. 3, if we build another prison, it's $300 million.
Well, one thing that's interesting about this, there's already been some buildup, and there's lots of worry that this is going to turn into maybe a circus, as it did at the end of during last session and all. Yeah. But at least hopefully, if you can get the work done now, that doesn't become, when you go back into session in January, regular session. It maybe all that part won't be there.
We had the Tennessee 3, but watch the media, watch the narrative, not WGNS. Watch your mainstream media. They will try to create a certain narrative. They've got an agenda. If folks don't believe there's an agenda, you call me on my cell phone, 525-3198. I've seen this agenda. I've seen it personally. Antifa was in front of my house 4 years ago. Are they going to tell that story? No. The media, for the most part, a lot of them want to create controversy. They don't want healing. Phil Williams is not going to talk about healing. And I think you get it, Brian. You may not want to share it on the radio, but tell me what Phil Williams is doing that's healing the nation. Has he ever talked about Christ? Has he ever talked about the work the churches are doing to help folks with addiction, battling mental health? No, because it does not fit the narrative.
Well, let's kind of switch our narrative here, and I'm going to turn Mike's microphone off, I think. But that's all right. It's all good. Judy King is here with us. Judy, you're with First Bank, but most importantly, you're here to kind of talk to us about the Smyrna Rotary Fish Fry. And, boy, we are less than a month away, right at a month away from that, aren't we?
Yeah, a little over 5 weeks. This year is our 21st annual anniversary, and we are going to be honoring Operation Enduring Freedom veterans. And we don't have a lot of those veterans that have already registered. And so Mike invited me here today to kind of get the word out and see if we can't get more of those veterans in. As you probably realize, the Operation Enduring Freedom was started after the 9/11 attacks on the country, and those folks enlisted after that to go out and fight a war to secure our freedoms, and to make sure that we never see another 9/11. So we want to honor those folks. So
we're talking about folks who have been in Kuwait and Iraq and Afghanistan after the 2001 attacks.
Yes.
And maybe there are still some that are still serving too, because
True.
I mean this has been a war that has continued, I guess.
Yes. Yes.
So you're honoring those. Now, let's talk about tickets and things of that nature. How do you secure tickets to the fish fry?
So you can purchase those online. You can actually purchase them the date of. They are $50 each, and we're still taking sponsorships, different levels of sponsorships. We're going to have a great turnout this year. As you know, previously we have raised almost just shy of $2 million in the 21 years that we have actually been able to give out to the nonprofits in this community. So I'm really proud of the heritage that our Rotary Club has in what we do, and how effective we are at giving back to the community.
I would assume that is probably, I mean, the fish fry is great and a lot of fun. But one of the bigger parts of this whole thing that has to be just as exciting, or maybe more exciting, is when you get to present those checks to the nonprofits.
It is, absolutely. Last year, we raised just a little over $202,000 with the fish fry, and we gave out over $149,000 in grant applicants. We have a process set up where a nonprofit can go online and apply for a grant, and then we have a process to go through, and then usually about October we start giving out checks, and that is a great feeling.
Well, you've mentioned over $2 million, and in those years there are two big projects that come to mind: the Boys and Girls Club Smyrna campus, and the all-inclusive playground. I mean, those are some pretty big projects that, without the Rotary's help and without the help of people coming to this event, those would be things that probably aren't there.
Absolutely. Something that Mike was talking about, I heard the word hope. And every year, Rotary International, there's always a focus. This year, the focus is on hope. And, we can hope for a lot of things. But like Mike said, and Rotary is not a denominational, not a religious organization or whatever, but it's made up of some really good, strong, faith-founded folks. And giving back hope is what we do. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad to be a part of that.
The Smyrna Rotary Fish Fry is going to be on September 9th. wingsandfreedomfishfry.org.
It's www.wofsmyrna.com.
Yeah.
Yes.
And just if you do a Google search, you'll be able to find it. Judy King joining us today. State Representative Mike Sparks here on Rutherford Issues.
Now more than ever, start your mornings with WGNS. Swap and shop with Bart Walker. Weekday mornings 7:50 to 8:10 on WGNS AM FM.